This is RBN, the Republic Broadcasting Network.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero, putting America first, second, and third. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
Welcome to our show today. It is Friday, January 22nd, 2021. And thank goodness it's Friday. Thank goodness it's Friday. Thank goodness it's Friday. We've got a lot to talk about today. Mike is in our control room, twiddling the dials and keeping us out of trouble. And as usual, I'm going to do news until I run out of news. And then we're going to open up the phone lines for your comments, questions, observations, and opinions. Well, Biden is, he's for good, bad, or indifferent. He's now the president here. And during his inaugural speech on Wednesday, he kept using the word unity or uniting about every 2 minutes. So it was kind of hard to miss. But official Washington is apparently back to business as usual. Biden fired the general counsel of the National Labor Relations Board, who was a Trump appointee. American Rising, the Republican opposition research firm, began trashing Biden's cabinet picks. And yesterday, one day after Biden urged the nation to start afresh, Mitch McConnell, the Senate Republican leader, was on the Senate floor accusing Biden of already taking several big steps in the wrong direction. So, as Harry Truman used to say, it's the world's hottest kitchen. Absolutely. Article coming out from MSN.com, and it basically says the world, loves Joe Biden. He's popular across much of the world, but the world is generally losing faith in the United States, in its ability to function as a nation, and Biden's ability to deliver. They're looking at these wars that have just gone on perpetually to no resolution whatsoever. And apparently there was a survey done of 12,400 respondents in Brazil, France, Germany, Japan, Kenya, India, Indonesia, Mexico, Russia, South Africa, Turkey, and the U.S. itself. And it really did not come on back that there is a lot of confidence in the functioning of the United States here. Now, there's a big stink that has grown up around the treatment of the National Guard, who basically showed up, I guess, so that Biden had a huge crowd for his inauguration here. And they had originally basically been sleeping in the Capitol building, but apparently they were forced to take their rest breaks in nearby parking garages. And apparently they had one 2-stall bathroom for 5,000 troops. No internet reception, one electrical outlet, absolutely horrendous conditions. There's gratitude for you here. And the Democrats are facing a backlash online after photographs emerged yesterday of the National Guardsmen being forced to sleep in the parking garages while having minimal access to essential items. So it's kind of right. As a result, down in Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis earlier today announced he's ordered back home all the Florida National Guard troops sent to Washington, D.C., saying they're not Nancy Pelosi's servants. And apparently Texas has followed suit, bringing their guardsmen back home as well. However, apparently thousands of National Guard troops will remain on duty in the Capitol after the inauguration. It's becoming a militarized zone. And in a press release, the National Guard said 10,600 people will remain on duty for the time being to continue the mission of assisting federal law enforcement authorities in protecting the Capitol. So I guess they're still worried there might be some kind of a counter coup or a revolution going on. Now, CNN apparently on Wednesday night The CNN asked Biden's communications director, Kate Bedingfield, if the Biden administration would deny access to news outlets should they decide to, quote, lie, end quote, about Biden. In other words, if you don't say good things about Biden, you will not get access to the press corps. And Camarada referred to Biden's inaugural speech, in which he stated, recent weeks and months have taught us a painful lesson. There is truth and there are lies, and lies told for power and for profit. Well, that certainly works both ways here. But I think, they're really scared. More than half of Americans know this last election was a complete and total fraud. They're trying to basically crack down on that. Now, interestingly enough, Politico came on out and they actually started sort of talking around Joe Biden's obvious dementia. And, the Politico's the first liberal outlet to comment on Biden's cognitive decline. Of course, we've all known about it for the last year. Interestingly enough, on Wednesday, there's a video that surfaced when Joe Biden was walking into the Capitol on Inauguration Day. He basically stated aloud, salute the Marines, instead of actually saluting them. And apparently what happened is he was wearing an earpiece where he was getting instructions. And somebody said, salute the Marines, and he thought it was a line to repeat rather than a behavior he was supposed to engage in. So apparently Biden clearly needed to be reminded to salute the Marines. But basically, he botched that one, and it's another reminder. He's a few French fries short of a picnic here. Apparently, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene has filed articles of impeachment against Joe Biden, arguing he is unfit to be president and will do whatever it takes to bail out Hunter. And she is absolutely correct on both counts. Of course, this is not going to go anywhere, but it's nice that she made the effort here. Over on Joe Biden's official White House YouTube account, he is just being flooded with dislikes for the few videos that are up there. And apparently the dislikes are outnumbering the likes by 6 and 7 times. And this is despite the fact that YouTube has been caught red-handed, removing the dislikes from the Biden White House page. So apparently they cannot keep up with the flood of dislikes that are pouring on in. By the way, comments are now closed on that web page. So, this for what we are told is the most popular president in U.S. history. Meanwhile, Michelle Malkin, RSBN, and Gateway Pundit have been suspended on Twitter for violating the civic integrity rule. We're not even sure what that means, but apparently Twitter handed the Gateway Pundit a 12-hour suspension. Then they upped it to a 6-day suspension. Now, the Gateway Pundit is one of the top 120 websites in America today and a leading voice for conservatives. By the way, somebody has got a website up for the Patriot Party, and their Twitter account has already been shut down. Twitter has locked the account of China's U.S. Embassy in response to a tweet that defended China's policy toward the Muslim Uyghurs in Xinjiang, which the U.S. social media platform said violated its stand against dehumanizing people. So they're out there just throwing their weight around here. Meanwhile, a reminder, Twitter is already being sued for allowing child porn to remain on their site. And these are videos, explicit videos, obtained by blackmailing children, 13 years old. And the videos were published, and according to Twitter, doesn't violate their terms of service. Meanwhile, Twitter is allowing a private news agency in Iran to publish death threats against Donald Trump. saying revenge is inevitable. And apparently Iran's supreme leader tweeted an image of a Trump lookalike golfer being targeted by a drone and vows retribution for the death of General Soleimani in a 2020 U.S. strike. But again, child porn is acceptable over there at Twitter. Over at Facebook, they have what is being called an oversight board, which will decide whether Trump will be allowed access to Facebook again. And apparently this oversight board includes a Muslim Brotherhood activist and a leftist who once publicly made Barron Trump the butt of a crass joke. So this is a study in foregone conclusions. They want Trump to just basically disappear from politically from the society here. Over at Parler, they are welcoming the FBI probe of company policies after the House Oversight Committee called for a review of the Capitol riot roll. And apparently the Democrats are changing tactics now because the Democrat chairwoman wants to investigate Parler's private business ownership to see if those gosh darn Russians are involved. It never seems to stop. It's been a very depressing week, actually, here. Over at Hideout Now, they have an article on who is American media's biggest Biden suck-up. Rachel Maddow cries on air. Al Roker fist bumps the president, and a CNN guy claims the mall fireworks will make our enemies tremble. And they're just gushing over him. Incredible. Story out of Activist Post. The media literally is comparing Joe Biden to God in an effort to whitewash the new face of the U.S. police state and the war machine. So it's very intense. The propaganda is very, very intense. They're piling it higher and deeper. What can I tell you? We mentioned this before, but it's worth saying again. American trust in the corporate media has hit an all-time low, with just 18% of Republicans saying they believe journalists after the 2020 election. And I guess that's the 18% of Republicans who don't actually have computers here. Now, Americans' trust in corporate media has never been lower. The journalists insist it's the audience fault. And according to public relations firm Edelman's annual trust barometer, they're saying, the media outlets blame the audience's what they call poor information hygiene. And, we've been watching trust in the corporate media, on the path to total collapse for quite a while. And it's not going to come back anytime soon with this blame the audience. It's your fault that you don't believe it. Well, yeah, kind of, you're right. But only because we were lied to about Saddam's nuclear weapons, and we were lied to about the USS Liberty, and we were lied to about all kinds of things here. Now, interestingly enough, when Donald Trump left the White House on Wednesday, he flew down to Florida, and thousands were lining the streets in Palm Beach to welcome America's former president home. In fact, Trump had far more people show up to watch him getting off the airplane than Joe Biden had getting sworn in. That's got to tell you something right there. Apparently, according to a recent poll, Rasmussen reports, Trump's approval rating is nearing a 3-year high. So people still like him, and it's amazing. But the punishment never stops. Bank United has followed Signature Bank in deciding to close Donald Trump's bank accounts in what appears to be part of a banking blockade aimed at punishing him for actions he took as the commander-in-chief. Now, I'm sure there's probably a lot of very small neighborhood banks who would welcome that kind of cash injection. So I'm sure that Trump will, find a new home for parking his money. This is an interesting story. This is came out of National File. And apparently there were some leaked memos that showed all the way back in 2016 that the FBI believed it was Hillary Clinton rather than Donald Trump who was receiving help from foreign influences. And apparently agents with the FBI had an open investigation in 2014 focused on foreign finances flowing into Hillary Clinton's fledgling presidential campaign. But instead of receiving the FISA warrant they requested, the FBI executive leadership briefed the candidate on the issue. In other words, he said, hey, we're watching. So these declassified memos reveal the agents became frustrated with being stonewalled from securing a warrant to the point they escalated their request outside the chain of command to then FBI Director James Comey, who is just as dirty as anybody else. Do you remember the big stink back when the IRS was caught deliberately targeting and harassing conservative organizations? Well, Senator Ron Wyden of Oregon wants to bring back the good old days, and he's trying to enlist the IRS in the war to silence conservative voices. And apparently he wrote a letter to IRS Commissioner Charles Rettig claiming that certain tax-exempt organizations were involved in promoting and organizing events that ultimately led to the violent insurrection on January 6th. And he wants them punished for it. Again, absent any evidence they had anything to do with it, and we all know it was a false flag anyway. Okay. Senate Democrats, in an attempt to silence them, apparently, have filed ethics complaints against Senator Cruz and Hawley for challenging the election fraud. You know, the punishment is coming down hard, and you know, it's nasty. Now, according to a poll in the Hill Harris X polling system, a majority of voters support a bipartisan congressional commission to investigate potential irregularities in the 2020 election. And you know, when pigs fly, to quote from one of our commercials here. Story coming out of Blabberbuzz. Historians and political scientists are warning that America is in trouble, which observers we already know here. They say the nation is on a dark and ugly path. It's basically, we've seen the establishment of a totalitarian state, and it's just about complete. You know, the powerful public and private sector actors consolidate behind the notion that efforts to mark dissent can be justified, you know, despite that First Amendment. So it's going to get nasty out there. Apparently, Smith College professor Loretta Ross, who teaches women's and gender studies, is calling for the outright elimination of the Republican Party and purging what she describes as Nazi-fied people from Congress, universities, and regular jobs. So she's calling for a purge. All righty, now let's talk a little bit about COVID-19. There's some interesting developments there, and I'm sure this is just a coincidence, but Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser lifted the ban on indoor dining for restaurants just 2 days after the Biden administration. They got their guy into the White House. They don't need to have all of this lockdown propaganda anymore to trigger mail-in ballots because they've already won here. Another amazing coincidence out there, apparently the COVID-19 diagnostic criteria has been tightened by the World Health Organization, and they actually did it right on Biden's inauguration day. Now, together with the recent admission about the high number of false positives in the PCR test, the high cycle PCR test, we're seeing you know, that they're going to drop this whole thing. It's going to go away. And the numbers of new cases are going to plummet. And Biden will take credit for it. And of course, as we see more and more adverse reactions to the vaccines, Donald Trump will get the blame for that. All righty, as Biden became president, there was a medical journal that had an article that claimed hydroxychloroquine is ineffective against COVID-19. They have now retracted that article. Okay, we got to take a break for commercials, and we'll be right back.
Here at Republic Broadcasting Network, we have been building our online store. Well, we have been focusing on bringing you the best talk show host in the country. Here at Republic Broadcasting Network, we also want our listeners to have products they can use every day and in times of emergency. We have added new products each week to our store. Your support of this network, plus products at the best prices, is a win-win situation. Check out our new store. Go to our website, republicbroadcasting.org, and click on the online store located at the top of our website. Together, we can continue to grow RBN and help our listeners prepare for the future. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and click on our online store or call us.
800-724-2719, extension 3. 800-724-2719, extension 3.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now, but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
Welcome back to our show here, and a friendly reminder that Republic Broadcasting Network needs your continued support to go on giving the American people good information so that they can make good choices. And the postal address where you can send a check, money order, or if you prefer anonymity cash, is Republic Broadcasting Network, 2251 Double Creek Drive, number 302, Round Rock, Texas, 78664. The phone number where you can make a credit or debit card donation is 800-724-2719, extension 3. And you can find all this contact information at the top of republicbroadcasting.org. So the network thanks you, and I thank you. Getting on back to COVID-19 here, Dr. Anthony Fauci says he's finally free to speak the truth of public health and COVID-19 under the Biden administration. So he's basically taking more shots at Trump here. Fauci is also warning that the South African super COVID is the variant to worry about because it may make the vaccines less effective. He says it is not in the United States yet, but he admits that efforts to find it have been lacking. They're not really comprehensively searching for it, apparently, here. Fauci is now saying that the COVID-19 vaccine may become mandatory. And I'm sorry, Dr. Fauci, that's a violation of the Nuremberg Principles and several other treaties and laws, which require informed consent. And I am informed and I withhold consent. And you're not getting near me with that needle, not after what happened back in 1976, not after all that's happening now. So apparently, they're looking at considering a mandatory vaccine program, and I think it's a bad idea. Joe Biden is promising a wartime effort to beat COVID as he unveils a plan for 1 million vaccinations a day, only to discover that his target is barely 10% more than what Trump has already achieved. A little bit of embarrassment there. Over in Great Britain, Boris Johnson is refusing to rule out and extending their lockdown until summer. And I mean, that's insane. People are going crazy with all of this. There's depression, there's suicides, not to mention the economic damage here. It's really horrible. All right. Over at Madness Hub, they have a story where the U.S. Is going to join the COVID vaccine push for poor nations, along with remaining a member of the World Health Organization. The European Union is going to set a standard for vaccine passports. They're pitching it as a move to reignite travel within the bloc, to get the travel industry going again, to get tourism back up again, but make it all dependent on having the vaccination. AstraZeneca has not had a good week. Earlier in the week, we reported on how one of AstraZeneca's major suppliers in India caught fire. Well, now they've got another facility that's under threat of flooding in northern Wales. They are dealing with a deluge up there. And apparently Mark Pritchard, the leader of Wrexham Council, told Sky News the local industrial complex required overnight efforts to be secured from flooding. So a little bit of bad planning there. Even America's leper colony has been hit by COVID. And for a long time, they were saying we're COVID-free, we're COVID-free. But it's in every U.S. county now, including the Hawaiian enclave, where, which was a leper colony. And this was back in the 1860s. And people with leprosy were banished there. So it's now shown up there as well. Over in Bavaria, Germany, Angela Merkel has struggled to impose lockdowns with the leaders of Germany's various states. But Bavaria, one of its most significant and most economically vital regions, they're bucking the latest national lockdown extension. Apparently, the Bavarian Administrative Court temporarily suspended the statewide ban on drinking alcohol in public areas, initially introduced by lawmakers to mitigate COVID-19's spread. And if you've ever been to Bavaria, as I have, you know that drinking alcohol in public is a big, big thing. Down in Texas, there was a doctor. There was a damaged vial of the Moderna vaccine, which he decided to just take so it wouldn't go to waste. Took it home, gave it to 9 friends and family, including his wife. He has been fired and charged for the theft. Okay, turning to the, we're coming up here on another commercial break. All right, turning to the international news, according to Politico, Biden's transition team was kept in the dark over the Afghanistan drawdown by the Pentagon. And apparently they had conversations with 10 Pentagon and Biden officials involved in the transition and said, no, they were being kept in the dark. All right, we got to take another break for commercials. We'll be right back after these few words.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Homeowners, are you in foreclosure, expecting to be served with a foreclosure lawsuit, or suspect your lender has coerced you into an illegal mortgage transaction? A huge number of mortgages made in the last 10 years have legal issues and are possibly defective. State laws and the U.S. Supreme Court have upheld that defective mortgage documents are grounds for foreclosure defense and for counterclaims in favor of the homeowner. If your mortgage has been sold or assigned since closing the loan, it may be defective and you may be paying the wrong party, and the lender may not have standing or the right to foreclose or collect payments under the law. If you would like to know if your mortgage is legal or not, or know if you are paying the right party, we can help. Our initial consultations are free of charge. We are not attorneys. We are legal researchers and work closely with experienced lawyers who know how to help you find the evidence to help you keep your home. Call toll-free 1-855-2-KEEP-IT. That's 1-855-2-KEEP-IT today.
Hello, I'm Dr. Leonard Horowitz. I was right 30 years ago in warning the world about threatening lab virus outbreaks, AIDS, and Ebola. I was right 20 years ago when FBI Director Robert Mueller made me a suspect in the anthrax mailings because I warned the Bureau before the CIA's biocrime and Cipro sales psyops happened. I was right about COVID-19 being an AIDS-laced mutagen planned to resurge this fall to excuse officials' profitable depopulation globalization agendas. And I was right about the only safeguards being antioxidants and holy spiritual sustenance. Vitamin C, D, zinc, chlorophyll, oxygen, and oxysilver especially transmits the frequency resonance to neutralize the expanded function bioweapon. Oxysilver is a double superconductor of the healing power of love. It is the first nutraceutical invented to amplify prayer power and the faithful, loving intention of your heart. Buy, try, and stockpile Oxysilver through healthyworldstore.com.
What would you say if I told you we have a new tool that will increase production and lower maintenance costs for your meat processing company? And it would pay for itself in just 6 weeks.
When pigs fly!
The new Ease Off Model Easy 4 replaces old spring-style carcass droppers and is faster, safer, and more reliable. The Ease Off lowers or lifts 1,000 pounds to or from your rail automatically using our remote control.
Sounds expensive. Can I afford it?
Can you afford not to try the Ease Off? It installs fast with just 3 bolts in place of your current dropper. The effortless operation will reduce fatigue and injuries, speed up your line, eliminate downtime, and increase profit.
How can I order my Ease Off?
Go to easeoff.com, EAZEOFF.com, and hurry because we are offering $200 off on the new Easy 4 for a limited time. Easeoff.com. We make pigs fly. Cows too. Ease Off LLC, Summersville, Missouri, 417-932-6419.
We the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves.
Welcome back to our show here. We're talking about the international news. Now, over in Ethiopia's Tigray region, which is definitely, exploding right now, apparently there was a massacre at the Oriental Orthodox Church, and hundreds have reportedly been killed there. Apparently, the attack was carried out by Ethiopian government troops and Amhara militia from central Ethiopia. At least 1,000 people were estimated to be hiding in the church at the time of the attack. At least 750 people are reported dead. So it's all this pain and suffering and misery and everything. Over in Israel, Israeli settlers threw gasoline bombs at 2 Palestinian homes in the occupied West Bank village of Burin near Nablus yesterday morning. And local residents rushed to try to extinguish the resulting fire. Israeli occupation forces fired rubber-coated metal bullets and tear gas at them. The soldiers then entered the village and opened fire on the villagers. Many suffered from tear gas inhalation. One resident in his 30s was arrested. Now, the attack came shortly after groups of extremist settlers sealed off several roads and junctions and attacked Palestinian vehicles with stones and empty bottles. Eyewitnesses said the Jewish settlers who hurled the gasoline bombs were identifiable, but were not detained by the security forces. More Israeli settlers are calling for the murder of Palestinian bus drivers in the occupied West Bank. And apparently there's graffiti all over the place reading "Kill Arab Drivers." And other graffiti warned the damage won't stop until Israeli-run Kavim Bus Company stops employing Palestinians. The word revenge was also sprayed on the back of a bus. The Israeli army claims they have launched an investigation into the incident. Apparently, a Palestinian woman who was 7 months pregnant suffered a miscarriage after Israeli forces repeatedly fired tear gas toward her home in the Mugayir village east of Ramallah. Arij Abu Alia, 37, was hospitalized for several days with severe bleeding following the firing of over 100 tear gas canisters by the Israeli military in front of and around her home over the course of the previous week. Now, her home is located in an area scheduled for forced takeover, and Palestinian residents protest the Israeli military's actions pretty much on a daily basis. There's an innocent life lost there. Over in Great Britain, they're talking about how the Labour Party is getting very Israel-centric, and they're asking, why has it become impossible to criticize Israel? And like Jeremy Corbyn, any British politician who condemns Israel's treatment of Palestinians risks their career. So apparently the day after Labour leader Keir Starmer suspended his predecessor Jeremy Corbyn, the Daily Telegraph published an article headed "Keir Starmer Must Go Further," and it contained a new list of demands. It is not enough that Corbyn has been suspended or that he has had the whip removed. He needs to be sacked as an MP and booted out of Parliament. All right, story coming on out of southfront.org. No surprise to anybody, but apparently the greater Middle East is gearing up for a new war between Israel and Iran, meaning a war between Iran and our kids from here in the United States of America. Now, the Iranian parliament is preparing a draft resolution on a defense and security treaty for the axis of resistance. By signing the treaty with its allies, states and non-state actors alike, Iran will officially create its own NATO-styled military bloc in the face of the everyday growing chances of a direct military confrontation with the U.S.-Israel alliance. The unofficial axis of resistance is essentially on its way to becoming a security guaranteeing organization that will have a lot of success stories to claim. Meanwhile, Israel and Saudi Arabia are trying to push Joe Biden away from the Iran nuclear deal. And apparently back on the 15th, the U.S. Department of Defense announced that it was changing its command structure to move Israel from the European Command to Central Command, which covers the Middle East, Central Asia, and parts of South Asia. The reticence of many Arab and Central Asian countries to work with Israel necessitated the awkward assignment of Israel outside its geographic location, but they're putting it back in, and the change is significant, as is the timing. Meanwhile, Biden is signaling that he wants to get back to a deal with Iran, but it won't be the one that Trump pulled out of. Biden wants to lengthen and strengthen the nuclear constraints on Iran and wants to come up with a deal that will be even more restrictive than the last one. Joe Biden is also trying to prolong the New START treaty with Russia by 5 years. Before one of the last major arms control details between the nuclear superpowers expires early next month. And White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki confirmed yesterday that Biden would look to negotiate an extension of the deal before it runs out on February 5th. They're doing that one. The envoy from Saudi Arabia, their foreign minister, it says that relations with the United States under Biden will be excellent. And apparently, Saudi Foreign Minister Faisal bin Farhan said in an interview, "We are optimistic of having excellent ties with the U.S. under a Biden administration." Biden is saying that he will end U.S. support for the Saudi war in Yemen, something Antony Blinken, the Secretary of State nominee, reiterated during Tuesday's Senate confirmation hearings. But Prince Faisal seems to think Biden will continue support for the brutal war. Meanwhile, Saudis are rejecting the claim of summer civilian casualties in the Yemen attacks. Apparently, a lot of civilians have been killed, including children. And the Saudis are declaring the matters refuted and no longer operant, as it were, here. Getting on back to Israel, apparently Israeli police have refused to bring Palestinian workers who've been arrested while working without permission in Israel to court in order to hide the police brutality against them. Haaretz said that a large police force attacked a group of Palestinian workers in the Modin settlement near the occupied city of Jerusalem, causing fractures and severe physical harm. And according to the paper, the police attacked the workers in a construction site after receiving a false tip that they planned to carry out an attack on the settlement. So, amazing. Now, Israel's education minister announced a ban this week on human rights groups from entering Israeli public schools, a move seen by many as a response to a bombshell report from Bet Salam calling Israel an apartheid state. Bet Salam is defying the Israeli orders to stop teaching about apartheid, and they're going to go on doing so as long as they possibly can. Over in North Korea, the newest piece of equipment they have to play with here is a submarine-launched missile. And apparently the missile is too large to fit in any submarine North Korea currently has. So it's not quite the most powerful weapon yet, but it really isn't a dud. With the latest generation of SLBMs, Kim Jong-un is inching closer to something genuinely powerful, a solid-fueled missile capable of reaching most of the mainland United States and with a shorter launch time than the current selection of liquid-fueled rockets. Obviously, they're planning a much larger submarine for this missile at some point. And we keep hearing the same sort of thing over and over and over again. This is coming from Task and Purpose. The Army's new soldier protection system, which was sold as a lighter and more powerful replacement for the existing personal protective equipment, doesn't actually get the job done. A recent evaluation from the Defense Department's top weapons tester suggests the next generation system has a long way to go before it can be trusted to reliably protect soldiers downrange. According to a new analysis from the Pentagon's Operational Testing and Evaluation Arm, the Army spent the 2020 fiscal year testing the lightweight Generation 3 Vital Torso Protection armor plate inserts, which when added to the system's new modular scalable vest will offer the first line of protection for soldiers against ballistic threats. Remember a few years ago there was this big stink where there was this manufacturer of body armor, and the body armor just wasn't holding up. The military literally threatened soldiers that if they went out and bought their own body armor, like Dragon Scale, their families would lose death benefits if they were killed in the field. Meanwhile, the guy selling this flaky stuff became insanely rich. That's really what the military-industrial complex is all about. Huge, huge amounts of money. All right, getting into the economic news here. Another 900,000 Americans filed new unemployment claims last week. So we're still in trouble there. Now, do you remember back during the campaign, Donald Trump claimed that Biden would end fracking, and of course the corporate media said, oh, it's false news, Trump is promoting a false claim. But yes, Biden is going to ban fracking. That came out today here. And another interesting little article here from Hideout Now. Apparently, Biden killed off an estimated 52,100 jobs in his first day as president during the pandemic. It's probably some kind of a record here. But apparently his canceling the Keystone Pipeline costs over 11,000 construction jobs and 42,100 jobs throughout the U.S., making the materials for the construction. Canceling the Trump border wall is 10,000 jobs. So that's a total of 52,100 jobs lost in his first 8 hours in office. Campbell Soup is going to close their Georgia plant with 326 workers by the spring of next year. Godiva Chocolatier is closing all of its 128 brick and mortar locations in North America. American Eagle is closing up to 225 of their stores. And it's retail Mageddon. It really is. Bitcoin breaks below 30,000, erasing almost all of 2021's gains so far this year. Article coming on out from Sputnik News. Europe is heading towards a double dip recession, according to the Purchasing Managers Index, which reflects economic trends in manufacturing and service sectors. PMI below 50 points indicates a downturn. The Eurozone's PMI for December sank to 49.1 because of the new lockdown measures. So they're heading into, these lockdowns are an economy killer. No question about it whatsoever. The European Union is doing the same thing they did back in 2008 and 9, extend and pretend, dishing out cheap loans to businesses, hoping for a recovery. Well, fast forward to today, and the small EU firms are now saddled with a mountain of debt that they can't service, and they may in fact be a major headache for the banks. Now, the banks have high exposure to small business loans, which is the backbone of the continent's economy. And if these businesses fail, there's going to be another round of economic pain ahead. Janet Yellen is out there saying the United States will fight currency manipulation using a full array of tools to counter China's abusive economic practices. And apparently she had a 114-page follow-up memo to her Senate confirmation hearing. And she touched on various topics spanning from climate change to sanctions policy and moves to maintain the dollar's status as the world's main reserve currency. Good luck on that one here. Republican senators appear to be concerned enough about their political careers that they are uniformly opposing Joe Biden's bill to give mass amnesty to over 11 million illegal aliens, according to NBC News, no less. Now, obviously, the problem there is that these illegal aliens coming on in tend to vote Democratic. They're not supposed to vote at all, but they do, and they did, and they vote Democratic. And by doing this, Biden is basically guaranteeing Democratic majorities in all future elections. Getting into immigration and globalism a little bit further, apparently over in Stockholm, there was this 12th century church, the Spanga Church, and apparently it was firebombed by somebody and declared as vulnerable by the authorities and a target of what's being described as Muslim extremism. Okay. Down in Mindanao, they've had a 7.1 earthquake. That's a big, big shaker. It hit the waters off Jose Abad Santos in Davao Occidental with strong intensities felt in some parts of Mindanao. This happened just last night. The tremors struck 231 kilometers southeast of Jose Abad Santos at 8:23 p.m. And basically considered a very, very strong earthquake. So the earth is kind of rocking and rolling out there. All right, we're coming up on another commercial break. We're going to go ahead and open the phone lines now. Area code 512-248-8252, and we'll be back with more news.
Homeowners, if your lender has gone out of business or sold your transaction to another lender or servicer, you may be the victim of a wrongful foreclosure, resulting in the loss of your home. If you've already lost your home, are in foreclosure, or even in good standing, you can challenge the mortgage transaction's illegal issue, and your property can be restored to you, and your foreclosure can be stopped or reversed, and the mortgage transaction declared unenforceable. State laws, U.S. title codes, the Uniform Commercial Codes, and U.S. Supreme Court rulings have upheld that defective mortgage documentations can reverse or stop foreclosures and enforce property title claims in favor of the homeowner. We are having successes in stopping the process of foreclosure, the enforcement of the foreclosure judgments, the sale of property, and evictions after the sale. We are not attorneys, and we don't give legal advice. We are a professional team of legal researchers, providing forensic mortgage audits and expert witnesses. We have the knowledge to produce the evidence and enforce laws regarding your legal issues. We've been in business for 12 years without a complaint. Consultations are free, and we provide a free title search to confirm if your mortgage has legal defects. Please call 855-253-3748. 855, the number 2, keep it today.
Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Moore here. We have a special promotion going on at Republic Broadcasting. This is a fundraiser for Republic Broadcasting involving the Energy Planner. Mail me a postcard. My address is at my website at thelibertyman.com. We pick a postcard every other Thursday. When your postcard is drawn out, you get to buy an Energy Planner for $215 instead of $285, $70 discount. $200 goes to Republic Broadcasting. You also get a 10% discount on my mattress pads. So get those postcards in, put your name, your telephone number, your email address on there, and when your postcard is drawn, you get to get an energy cleaner for $215 instead of $285. Mattress pads, 10% off. Help us out at Republic Broadcasting and help yourself to get an energy cleaner at a deep discount. It's a win-win situation for everybody. We hope you can get these postcards in soon. Thank you very much.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Please view, like, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Stop terrorism. Please contact us if you or anyone you know who wants to be on our show at thetruthpharmacy@gmail.com. Keep it real. Take the red pill.
Politicians and preachers once sometimes told the truth. We didn't throw war's first stone and sacrifice our finest youth. With no video games or cell phones, a house felt like a home. Children fought and played together instead of on a computer alone. Big McDonald.
Welcome back to our show here, and the phone lines are open. Area code 512-248-8252. Now, back when I was talking about COVID-19, I forgot to mention that baseball legend Hank Aaron passed away, apparently just 2 weeks after getting his COVID-19 vaccine. And of course, the experts are going to tell us one is not linked to the other. Apparently, Hank Aaron took the vaccine in order to encourage other blacks to come forward and get the needle as well. Okay, we're going to start taking phone calls here. CJ in North Carolina. Hello, CJ. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, Mike. How you doing today, man?
Doing okay.
That's good. Yeah, man, I've been listening to all these conservative radio hosts and all that, and they all came out with sort of the same blanket statement that, you know, nobody can resort to any kind of violence at all, but they don't seem to differentiate that there is a good kind of violence, you know, like the military and the police and everybody uses. And nobody wants violence.
Nope.
What is more violent? A slave driver? I mean, what's more violent than that?
Hard to imagine.
Yeah. So I just thought, I guess they're all just singing the same song.
Yes.
Because they're petrified and they don't want to lose everything they've got and, you know, be thrown in the dustbin there. But, I was also just kind of curious if you might want to reveal some other guys that you watch or listen to on the internet.
Well, you know, I used to listen to Alex Jones a lot, but he and I had a falling out some time ago. And, you know, I spend so much time updating the website, show prep, and doing this radio show. I actually don't really have a lot of time to watch or listen to anybody else. I mean, I'll read little blurbs coming through on gab.com from certain media people and, you know, just get caught up that way.
Yeah. I forgot my train of thought. Oh, yeah. These conservatives on the radio, everybody seems to say, well, we need to let the free market work all this out. Well, we don't have a free market.
No, we don't.
And how long is that? Do you think the communists in charge are actually going to let a free market compete with them?
You know, it's not long.
And I just found it curious that, Hannity was talking the other day, and he said, well, the free market works. Look what it did with the vaccine. Well, the vaccine wasn't a free market. The government came and threw money at everybody that had a lab. They didn't say, hey, if you come up with the cure, we'll give you $100 billion, you know, to whoever comes up with a vaccine. That would have been more of a free market.
Right. CJ, I got to let you go. We got to take a break for station identification. More phone calls when we come back.
Homeowners, are you in foreclosure, expecting to be served with a foreclosure lawsuit, or suspect your lender has coerced you into an illegal mortgage transaction? A huge number of mortgages made in the last 10 years have legal issues and are possibly defective. State laws and the U.S. Supreme Court have upheld that defective mortgage documents are grounds for foreclosure defense and for counterclaims in favor of the homeowner. If your mortgage has been sold or assigned since closing the loan, it may be defective and you may be paying the wrong party, and the lender may not have standing or the right to foreclose or collect payments under the law. If you would like to know if your mortgage is legal or not, or know if you are paying the right party, we can help. Our initial consultations are free of charge. We are not attorneys. We are legal researchers and work closely with experienced lawyers who know how to help you find the evidence to help you keep your home. Call toll-free 1-855-2-KEEP-IT. That's 1-855-2-KEEP-IT today.
You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, because you can handle the truth.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. The history the government hopes you never learn. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
Welcome back to our show. Hour number 2. The phone lines are open. Area code 512-248-8252. And we're going to go to the phones to Mark in North Carolina. Hello, Mark. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
How you doing, Mike? Mike, I just started calling, but you said what I wanted to say, Ray, about Hank Aaron.
Yeah.
Hammer and Hank. But what I understand, I was listening to InfoWars earlier today. This is after his second shot. And that's very important because I understand a lot of times the second shot is more dangerous even than the first shot.
Yes.
Something about it creates an autoimmune response more likely because your body reacts more to the coronavirus, overreacts to the coronavirus, and that's why.
Yeah.
So, people got to understand this is a dangerous vaccine.
Yes.
I see that you say Fauci wants to mandate it for everybody, or he just thinks that you put no-fly list or whatever else. What's the deal on that?
Well, the deal on that is that he is saying that the vaccine may become mandatory. And again, it's a violation of Nuremberg principles and several other laws and treaties. But, they can use coercive means to get everybody to take the vaccine. They can basically say you're on the no-fly list. They could freeze your assets. They could get you fired from your job. They're obviously desperate to stick that needle into as many people as they possibly can.
Yeah, we got to stop it. I mean, my opinion is that coming out now, they can't even keep it quiet anymore. It's coming out so much that sooner or later, I think they're going to have to take this off the market.
Yes.
Even it's coming out in mainstream media now, So I don't know how long they can keep this charade up. Like you said, I was saying, probably going to come to the point that they'll figure they'll come out a winner on it because they can blame Trump for it. And, rightfully so.
I agree. Trump botched this one for sure.
Meanwhile, Biden is, with all the one good thing about these people is they're not all that smart. These globalist, New World Order type. They're basically a bunch of old baby boomers trying to make their last stand, I think. And a lot of them are on psych meds.
Yes.
They don't think right. And they understand if they are going to push this police state that they seem to be trying to push, you're not going to do it by antagonizing the only people who actually would be able to enforce it, and that's the military.
Yes.
Right? They're hated more and more. Not going to, you're only going to get, they're going to get, you can't purge the whole military. You can purge the generals and all. But after a while, the military is not going to listen to the generals. If you look what happens in overthrows in other countries, it's usually like a colonel or something that does the overthrowing,
Yes.
It's not usually general. So I don't, this is very sad times in this country. I really, getting to a point. I just want to just turn it all off and forget about politics. But the
Well,
problem is,
Claire agrees with
affects
you.
us. Huh?
I said Claire agrees with you.
Yeah, but the problem is it does affect us. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, people you talk to, are they going to take the vaccine? Are they willing to take it, or
I'm not asking them whether or not they're taking the vaccine. Quite a bit of our family have taken the vaccine. No adverse reactions yet. And again, the number of actual adverse reactions compared to the number of people vaccinated is very, very small. And it's a kind of a reality that when they put out a vaccine, they always expect there will be a certain amount of adverse reactions and problems. But as long as they're making their money, it's okay.
But it's killing a lot of it is killing a certain amount, and I don't think they're giving us that. But I think I told you yesterday that a friend of mine down in Texas who actually had COVID, got over it, like basically a flu, and his friend took the vaccine, and he got Bell's palsy.
Yeah.
The side effects are there.
Yes, they are.
And people got to understand. And this is, like I said, this is basically a testing vaccine. Another thing I don't think you covered is Syria. Evidently, more soldiers are now going into Syria.
Yep.
So
we're cranking up there again.
Again, I don't know what they're trying to do, because if we have a confrontation, let's say, with Russia, I don't think it would go very well for our army. Okay, especially they can't be the best morale now.
No.
Of course, there's always a chance to go nuclear on top of it. But with a madman, with a guy who's not playing with a full deck in the White House, who knows? So that's all I got to say, Mike. Today, I'm really, like I said, I'm bummed out with what's going on. I'm just, just disgusted.
Yeah, it's been a very, very depressing week. And I hope they're still following the two-man rule regarding the unprovoked release of nuclear weapons.
Yeah, well, who knows? You know what I mean?
Yes.
We don't have what I call a reliable government right now.
No, we don't.
Fortunately, Putin, I believe, is a lot more with it than any of our leaders. Okay, he's a lot more understanding. Otherwise, we might have been in nuclear war already.
Yes.
Bad, though. It really is. Bye, Mike. You take it easy. Have a good weekend.
All right. Same to you. Thank you very much. We're going to switch over to Kelly in Austin. Hello, Kelly. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hi there, Mike. I heard you say that on Biden's first day in office that he killed 52,000 American jobs.
Yes.
That's just the beginning. That's just the beginning. With his executive orders and the legislation that these lunatics in Congress are going to pass between now and the end of the year, you could probably expect to see a couple of million Americans or more, maybe up to 4 million Americans unemployed, because they're going to do their best to try to shut down the oil industry, the coal mining.
They're going after the coal
of uranium mining now in this country, and all this reminds me the cavalier attitude that they have about that. Reminds me of something I remember from the Obama administration. Do you remember what Eric Holder, the Attorney General at the time, said when he was asked about the death of the Border Patrol agent Brian Terry?
Yes.
He said, if you're going to make an omelet, you have to break a few eggs.
Yeah.
I mean, Americans out there, they're just as expendable as eggs used to make an omelet. They don't care.
No, they don't.
They don't care. And Biden, when during the campaign, fatuously said, "Well, anybody who works at a coal mine can learn how to code."
Which tells us Biden doesn't know anything about coding.
Right. That goes to show you the attitude that they have about people. I mean, if you don't live on the East Coast or the West Coast, you're not in the Democrat Party, they don't care about you. They really don't care. So you're just an egg to be broken, so that they can get to their objective.
Yes.
Now I heard. Did I hear it on your program or not? But apparently, on the White House YouTube website, the YouTube site, the videos that the White House is putting up were downvoted by about 6 or 7 to 1.
Yes, they were. And YouTube's been caught trying to erase the dislikes, but they can't keep up with them.
That's right. But what does that go to show you? They have to know that we all know that they stole this damned election. They stole it.
Yes, they did.
And it's important that we do everything we can, every chance we get, to downvote that SOB and everybody in his administration. Good Lord. Bad times are ahead. So
yep.
I don't want to belabor the point. You know my opinion of the matter, but it's just beginning. And really, in 6 months to a year, when the price of gasoline hits $4 plus a gallon, then maybe these idiots who voted for Biden will ask themselves, what were we voting for? I didn't realize it was going to be this bad.
Yeah, but you have to remember that not a lot of people actually voted for Biden. They generated those votes out of thin air.
Well, that's right. That's right. But still, the people who voted for Biden will have to ask themselves, is this what we really wanted?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm curious to hear what other people have to say, Mike. Thanks for taking my call.
All right, you've got it here. We have open lines here at RBN, 512-248-8252. We're going to go to Don in Arizona. Hello, Don. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind? Hello, Don. Hey, there you are.
Hello, I'm here. I want to comment about these National Guard troops there in Washington, D.C. One thing I don't understand is why they don't have cots. Every time I ever went to someplace like that's a small deployment. Is what that is there.
Yes.
They're coming from different states, and they should all. I went on a lot of different deployments in National Guard. They always give you an Army cot. The Army's got probably 1 billion of those cots.
Yes.
And every armory's got 1,000 of them, and the soldiers they know how to take that apart and put it back together, and that's what you sleep in when you're. Now, you will take a nap if you're like at an airport or something. Yeah, it's not unusual to lay down on the concrete and take a nap for a little while. But if you're going to be somewhere for a few days, it's unbelievable they don't have cots.
Yeah, I agree.
And I could always
they were treated shabbily. There's no question about it.
I mean, there's no explanation for that. I mean, it takes up just as much the amount of space that not having a cot. Maybe I don't know. Maybe Biden didn't want to look like they're getting too comfortable in there or something like that. I don't know. But,
well, I think Pelosi is actually calling the shots regarding the Guard.
Nancy Pelosi, right?
Yeah.
One thing I'd like to see is Pelosi made it a rule that everybody in the House has to wear the damn mask.
Yes.
But somebody could try her on that. Say, look, I'm walking in here. I don't have a mask. What are you going to do to me? Kill me? Take your gun out and shoot me dead right now? No. I mean, what could she do? And she can't really fine somebody for not wearing a mask. I don't understand that. It's master. The whole thing is it's got to end someday, and the quicker the better.
I agree.
It's coming more and more. It's coming to light that this whole thing was probably just a scam. The virus might not even exist at all.
Yes.
And Walmart will let you in without a mask. I went in there today.
Yeah.
I think Walmart pretty much everywhere will let you in without a mask if you want to.
Well, we were at Walmart, our local Walmart, yesterday, and the first thing I noticed is all the stickers that had been on the floor saying 6 feet apart. They've all been taken up and thrown away.
Right. I haven't seen those lately either. It's all a bunch of nonsense. Everybody knows. And I hope what you're saying is right, that Biden is going to walk back on this because it'll help the economy and it'll make the people happy, too. Even though it's kind of, in a way, it's kind of extortion to say, okay, we'll take over now. You elected us, even though we didn't elect him. I mean,
no,
he's saying, okay, we're in charge now, so you're lucky that we're in charge because we're going to cut back and let you have more. I mean, but I don't think he will, though. I don't know what's going to happen. What does the future hold for us, Mike? What do you think?
Well, I think Biden himself is not going to be in the Oval Office for 4 years, and I think Kamala Harris is going to become our first female president. But the economy is clearly heading for a crash, which they'll blame on the COVID pandemic. So that, you know, they don't have to be held responsible for bad management. Biden's loaded up his cabinet with a bunch of Israel firsters and war hawks. And I think we're just edging that much closer to a full-on World War III.
Yeah, Kamala will be just as much a puppet as him. She has no mind, really. She's an airhead. I mean, that's why nobody would vote for her, even in the Democratic primaries. I don't begrudge her for having an active sex life. That's no big deal. But if that's what it was, there was one on one poster, one of those rallies that said Kamala is a super spreader. It's kind of a double
I like that. Well, you know, I have
I
have nothing against somebody having an active sex life, but when you're trading sex for advancement, that's a whole different kind of other thing.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's not unusual either with women. I mean, what the hell? But anyway, she's a dummy. She's not smart. Nothing smart about her. She's just, like you say, she slept her way up the ladder there.
Yeah.
She not a smart lady like some ladies are. But yeah, I still understand that about the why they're crashing right on the concrete. When the Army has probably 1 trillion cots. If they don't have any in Washington, D.C., up there to where they have their big supply center in Philadelphia, they probably got 5 billion cots up there, you know. So,
well, whoever was cutting the orders wasn't thinking in terms of, you know, providing basic. I mean, you know, they got kicked off the Capitol grounds because one Democratic member of Congress complained that they weren't wearing, they all weren't wearing masks. And so they got shoved into this parking garage where they're sleeping on the concrete there. And they've got like 1 2-stall bathroom for 5,000 men, 1 electrical outlet, and no internet access whatsoever. I mean, that's, you know, prisoners are treated better than those National Guardsmen were.
Got to have porta potties when a bunch of guardsmen. You got to have a lot of porta potties. Right. Well, I mean, that's what people get paid for. I mean, that's just automatic. That's just like when they go down once a month to their damn drill down to 50 miles away or something. I mean, it should just be automatic. Well, I'll let you go, Mike. Thanks a lot.
By the way, speaking of who have Fox News.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero, because World War III is a really bad idea. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
Okay, we'll try and do that. Okay, we're going to, okay, so you can hear me now.
Yeah, I got you now.
Okay, all right. And, all right, so let's go to Sebastian in Sweden. Hello, Sebastian. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Yeah, hello, Mike. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine.
I was just thinking, that's good. You talked about the church in outside Stockholm. It's Spånga.
Yes.
And that church is from the 12th century, like you said. And they also have, I've been there several times. They have these Viking rune stands outside the church. You know, it's really old, but that's not the first time it's happened in Sweden. There have been several churches that even burnt down, you know, with the Muslim extremists we have in this country.
Okay.
But anyway, I just want to talk about the other, maybe last week, or maybe it was this, I think it was last week, you said something about the election, that Trump could have changed it, that there was a federal law about the vote for the presidency. Was that correct?
Well, actually, it was a Supreme Court decision. It was unanimous, and it stated that presidential elections are federal elections, And I don't know why Trump's advisors didn't mention that to him, but it basically gives the federal government the authority to decide how the elections are going to be conducted for the president and the vice president.
Well, that would have been good if they had done it that way, because now I don't think you have a chance. When the Democrats are in, when Joe Biden's in, for president.
Yes,
but,
his fraudulency.
Another thing, one of your callers, one of your callers, I think it's Kenny or Kelly from Texas, from
yes,
Austin or something. He's a ham radio operator, and he was talking, I think, last week about the power. He was QRP, which means low power, and I also did some low power.
Okay, Sebastian, stay on the line.
Brazil from Finland.
Okay, stay on the line, Sebastian. I got to put you on hold. We got to take a break for commercials. We'll be right back.
Have you been looking for a trusted long-term storable food company? We have a solution for you. Simply Clean Foods is dedicated to providing the best quality food you can buy next to fresh from a farmer's market. Our line of resealable fruits, vegetables, and meats are suitable for everyday use, and you won't have to worry about throwing away valuable groceries ever again. Our food is completely GMO-free, and our stringent quality controls, plus testing for heavy metals, makes us unique in the storable foods market. Simply Clean Foods' primary focus is to bring clean food to people all around the world and change the way we look at freeze-dried food in our daily cooking. When you purchase from simplycleanfoods.net, not only will you be receiving high-quality food, but you will also be supporting veterans in need across the country and those who are affected by natural disasters. Right now, Amazon Prime members will receive fast 2-day shipping. Go to simplycleanfoods.net. That's simplycleanfoods.net. But do it today.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now, but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge $20, $30, $40, $50, if possible, $100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
When all this twisted steel was swept away, did these remaining holes reveal what really happened?
Welcome back to our show here, and we're talking with Sebastian in Sweden about the anti-church violence that's been going on there. So, Sebastian, if you could just sort of continue where you left off.
Yeah, okay. I was talking about ham radio, and
oh, yes, you were.
QRP means low power. Yeah, and if once you get your license, like if you get your license in the United States, you can get a temporary license in most countries that you travel to. It takes a while to get it. You have to get it ahead of time. But I've had licenses in Denmark, Germany, and Finland. And when I was in Finland, I had a low-powered, I think 3 watts output, and I communicated with Brazil with that, but not with SSB or it was CW, Morse code. But I mean, you can go a long ways on a low wattage. And the thing with cell phones is that when I think what's going to happen is if Biden tries to take away the Second Amendment, what they're going to do is they're going to go from district to district, and when they take away the weapons, they probably turn off the cell phones, and they even could maybe cause a power failure in that area.
Yes,
they would go out from lights door to door. That's my impression. I mean, that's my scenario, a horrible scenario, what would happen. And there's a guy from California that said about the kids with the cell phones, they don't think anything else. But when the cell phones are gone, what are they going to do then?
Well, I don't think the gun ban will be that overt. There was an article that came out the other day and said what's most likely to happen is because of gun registration, the government knows who has guns, how many guns they have, what kind of guns they have, and they'll just send out letters saying, you have got 2 weeks to surrender these at your local police station, or we'll freeze your assets and take your children. And it could be a very, very gentle confiscation, so to speak.
Well, hopefully, but I don't think very many people are going to turn in there. Or maybe old ones from the 18th century or something. But
yeah,
it's still pretty bad. That's all I had to say. And all the best, Mike.
All right. Well, thank you very much here. And we're going to change over to Skip in Maine. Hello, Skip. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hi, Mike. I'm only going to keep this to one subject, although my mind is reeling. But YAF released a video today where they went to Yale University and passed around a petition to repeal the U.S. Constitution as being racist and irrelevant in today's society. 65% of the people asked signed the petition to repeal the Constitution.
Oh, that's
and I find
scary.
it appalling. Yes, for an institution like Yale to have that quality of people, and then think 65% of them think. Well, I wouldn't say 65%. 65% of the people they asked. So I'm not sure how big of a population that was, but I just wanted to bring that, and that was on YAF, the Young Americans Foundation, I believe it is.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, in certainly the last decade, our university system has stopped being about education, and it's all about liberal indoctrination. Of course, these students are going heavily into debt to go to the colleges and universities, and then they wear their degrees like a fashion statement.
And of course, I blame that back on the 60s when all these people were getting student deferments to stay out of Vietnam. And a lot of people got degrees that obviously didn't deserve them, and they went on into teaching careers.
Yes.
That's where I think the problem started. But because if people read Charlotte Isobert and her The Dumbing Down of America, that has a lot of insights to it.
I imagine it does here. I'm not sure that it goes all the way back to the 60s, although there was certainly a lot of liberalism on the college campus. But it's really become very heavy-handed just over the last 20 years. And to the point, we had a story yesterday where this university, to save money, is de-emphasizing like medieval literature and English literature because of associations with colonialism. And really, we are seeing the current generation be dumbed down. They don't know anything. They just believe a lot of garbage they have been fed about things like transgenderism. And I remember when I was a kid in school, they were teaching gun safety, and today we have drag queen story hour.
You and I both grew up in New Hampshire in the 50s, and you're absolutely right. We had gun safety in the 5th or 6th grade. I'm not sure which it was, but
yep.
But anyways, I want to bring that to people's attention that our universe. So you have a good evening, Mike.
All right, same to you. Thank you for the call. We're going to take another break for commercials. Back with more phone calls after these few words.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
For over 20 years now, Extendivite has proven time and again it really works. Here is a testimonial from Amazon.com. I received an arterial switch at birth. In my mid-20s, I started getting slight runs of NSVT. Nothing too serious, but enough to cause worry. I started taking Extendivite a little over 2 years ago, and it helped cut the palpitations and NSVT down drastically. This isn't a cure-all supplement. I strongly recommend a good diet and exercise to aid in any heart troubles you may be having, and I strongly recommend giving Extendivite a try. Extendivite is only $69.95 for a 2-month supply. To order, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com. That's HEARTDROP.com.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
It's happening, ladies and gentlemen. We here at RBN are working with Front Sight Firearms Training Institute to bring our audience the best in combat, tactical, and defensive firearms training. Whether you're a private citizen who is new to firearms or you have a concealed weapon permit and want a level of training that surpasses what you've received from your local gun range, Front Sight provides priceless education and skills taught by seasoned law enforcement, military, and private citizen instructors to levels that far exceed law enforcement and military standard. With nearly 1 million responsible citizens trained from every town, city, and state from across the United States, Front Sight has bolstered the Patriot movement to a whole new level. Contact Dan Sutterfield by phone at 573-762-2356 or 573-465-2356 or shoot him an email at domedan, DOMEDAN @hotmail.com. This is a limited time opportunity. Don't miss it.
Homeowners, if your lender has gone out of business or sold your transaction to another lender or servicer, you may be the victim of a wrongful foreclosure resulting in the loss of your home. If you've already lost your home, are in foreclosure, or even in good standing, you can challenge the mortgage transaction's illegal issue and your property can be restored to you, and your foreclosure can be stopped or reversed and the mortgage transaction declared unenforceable. State laws, U.S. title codes, the Uniform Commercial Codes, and U.S. Supreme Court rulings have upheld that defective mortgage documentations can reverse or stop foreclosures and enforce property title claims in favor of the homeowner. We are having successes in stopping the process of foreclosure, the enforcement of the foreclosure judgments, the sale of property, and evictions after the sale. We are not attorneys, and we don't give legal advice. We are a professional team of legal researchers, providing forensic mortgage audits and expert witnesses. We have the knowledge to produce the evidence and enforce laws regarding your legal issues. We've been in business for 12 years without a complaint. Consultations are free, and we provide a free title search to confirm if your mortgage has legal defects. Please call 855-253-3748. 855, 2, keep it today.
Well, they're stealing down on Wall Street and in Washington, too. You know, it makes me wonder, what's a guy on Main Street to do? I've always tried to be an honest, upstanding kind of guy. But I must admit lately, I thought about giving something else a try. Oh, I want to be a pirate. I want to sail the 7 seas, yeah, I want to be a pirate.
Welcome back to our show here. We're going to go back to the phones to Robert in East Texas. Hello, Robert. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Thank you, Mike. I was just calling to talk a little bit about this idea kicking around about Texas seceding from the Union. I sympathize a great deal with Marco from Alabama and, Tom in Florida and some others that are called in expressing the frustrations with this recent fiasco.
Yes.
I just like to hear some insights from other people across the state in my home state here. I don't see Texas seceding from the Union mainly because it's plugged into the same power elite that the rest of the country is. The military industrial complex, and where I live over here is lots of timber production. Of course, it's big oil. Lots of oil and natural gas is produced out of here, and the oil companies and the financial institutions. If you go back to the days of Lloyd Benson, he was heavily plugged into the insurance industry in Houston. And, he later became Secretary of Treasury under Clinton. The big banks and the big corporations running the Republican Party in Texas are no different than the ones that kind of waltzed away from Trump during this recent meltdown in Washington, D.C. So unless I'm missing something here, I just don't see Texas pulling the plug on the United States.
Well, you may well be right, but I know it's being talked about not just in Texas, but in several other states as well.
Well, I think it's a great idea. It's like there's a lot of this hopium that's going around out there. A lot of the like the sealed indictments and the rounding up of the the pedophiles.
Yeah, all of which was a psyop to keep us from rioting.
Exactly, and I'm afraid this is kind of like some more white pill hopium that's being spread around in the conservative movement. I think the Republican Party has demonstrated that they're not true conservatives in terms of the, working class people or even professional class people. And I mean, they're taking care of the elites. I mean, we have these Dick Cheney types running around Texas. Where I live is being heavily invaded by illegal Mexicans. And it seems like the people who benefit from that are these wealthy business owners and so forth, and they haven't stopped it or raised any kind of cane about it at all, as far as I can tell. And I just don't see things changing a whole lot. The conservative movement needs to. There's been some talk. I think it was some other people talking about starting a new political party.
Yeah, the Patriot Party.
Constitution Party. Yes, there's the Libertarian Party. I don't know.
Yes.
A lot of people have some revulsion about their stand on legalizing drugs and so forth, but I don't know where the conservative people go at this point. I think we're kind of boxed in. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. Maybe some other people can call in and enlighten me on this.
Well, unfortunately, we are boxed in. We actually have been boxed in ever since we got the two traditional parties that were just ping-ponging us back and forth. That's not the way the nation started. I mean, the nation started where anybody could form a party and all were on an equal standing. Now, of course, both the Republican Party and the Democratic Party have special legal status that automatically puts their candidate on the ballots in all 50 states. Third parties have to run massive petition drives, which uses up manpower, resources, and finances, to get on the ballot. And, so they're preserving their advantage. But this Patriot Party that supposedly is being formed by Donald Trump and his associates, obviously it's going to get off the ground with a certain degree of funding. And I'd like to see the chokehold of the Republicrats, if you will, on the American throat. I'd like to see that, pried loose.
Yes, me too. And the Republicans have lost all credibility. They're not true conservatives.
No, the way they failed to stand up
no,
for Donald Trump,
they didn't. They don't deserve not one dime nor one
Nope.
vote from dog catcher on up.
Yep.
Although I live in Louis Gohmert's district, I think his days are numbered too, because all the Democrats have to do pretty soon is to run someone with a Spanish surname, and I think it's the cultural Marxist agenda or the identity politics will gobble him up. That's
along
all
with the election fraud.
Yes. At some point, you won't need to rig the machines anymore.
I think they're always going to rig the machine.
That's all I have.
Okay. Thanks an awful lot. We're going to switch over to Richard in Alabama. Hello, Richard. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hi. I called in about how they're going to take the guns away from people in rural areas, but I got an idea for Texas. Texas needs to organize a free trade promotion organization and send that delegation down to Mexico City and make an arrangement to move Mexican police and Mexican soldiers into Texas and disguise it as free trade, facilitating free trade inspectors.
Okay.
Or such. And get them in there, and once they're in, start appealing to the ethnic speaking, Spanish speakers, appeal to them that for a better quality of justice from the Mexican authorities. And by doing this, you're going to put the big money people in a position where they have to come out as either bigots or they're going to have to let Texas go back to Mexico, because Texas will never fight. They have no way to fight. They can't even organize. So the only existing organization is the Spanish-speaking, ethnically Mexican community. Get them to organize. Never mind the white folks. Get them to organize. Make sure you don't have any lawyers involved in it.
Yeah.
Lawyers have too much to lose. And by that means, you can create, using free trade as your little judo trick, you can get the Mexican authorities into Texas and then invite Mexico to annex Texas. That will get it started.
Well, I think the people in Texas who are looking at secession don't want to join with Mexico, given the history of how Texas came to be. I think they want to be and could be their own nation. As far as Texans not being willing to fight, again, look at the history of how Texas came to be. I think pushed to it, they'd be a very formidable force to be reckoned with. Given the choice between balkanizing the United States and having outright rioting and civil war in the streets, I'm all in favor of balkanization.
Well, eventually things are going to get so bad that Texas will regret not having taken my advice.
Okay.
I'm sorry to predict that, but they're just slowly fading away, always hoping that their Davy Crockett will come along and mobilize them. It ain't going to happen.
Well, you may be right, but I'd like to see Texas and a bunch of other states start to secede. It could provoke another civil war like it did the last time. But we certainly can't go on like this, being dragged into a communist dictatorship. Certainly anybody of my age, when they were in school, we were told that communism was bad and dictatorships were bad. And it is amazing how brainwashed some of these people in colleges have become regarding socialism and liberalism here. And in fact, they're so brainwashed when they count sheep at night, they start with themselves.
Yeah. You want to know how they're going to take away the guns?
But please do.
Remember in Dr. Zhivago, all of these street people began moving into houses.
Yes.
And just bringing in their bedrolls and tearing down the curtains and make them into sheets, and everybody just kept flocking into houses until everything got so miserable that the owners of the house had to leave, and they just left. And that's how it happened in Cuba.
Yep.
It's how it happened in Vietnam and Cambodia. They just crush you with homeless people demanding free housing, and the United Nations is bringing in millions of Africans who need housing. There's not going to be enough housing.
No, there isn't.
They're going to move to, and they're going to eventually overflow the cities, and they're going into Crawford County and Williamson County. They're going out into the rural areas. They're going to have a county housing authority, and they're going to carry busloads of African migrants around the county and dropping them off at houses and demanding that we take care of them. And it ain't going to work for very long. And we're going to have to hit the road. Hopefully, we're going to be homeless and going down the road, and we'll wonder what happened to Texas.
Okay. Well, thank you for the phone call, Richard, and thank you for the insights here. We're going to let you go and switch over to James in Vancouver. Hello, James. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
I understand now we got a military junta in Washington. Did I get that right?
Yeah, that's about the size of it. It's not a military junta, but it is a junta.
I heard talk on one of the previous shows on RBN that the what do you call this, Joint Chiefs of Staff or whatever aren't really interested to give Biden too much at this point. Did I hear that correctly, or?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, everybody understands Biden is a joke. He's mentally deteriorated. He's a placeholder. And he was installed as president so the liberal establishment can basically do whatever they want with the country, unafraid that they'll be voted out in the next election, because from now on, the elections will always favor the Democrats, both because of the illegal immigrants voting and because of the massive vote fraud machine they have set up.
Right. Just that last caller, I thought that was a good call. I think Texas is a real wild card when it comes to the union.
Mm-hmm.
Texas is the southern border, and it's really big. But
yes.
And it's got oil, and it's got everything, and it's got seaports, you see.
Yes.
So it is very, very, very powerful state. And
yes.
Yeah, they can use the stampede. I describe what he was describing. I just call that a cattle stampede. And they can use that, but I don't know. I wouldn't want to tangle with the people in Texas. But anyway, Miss Claire is not on the show today?
No, she's not. She's working on a new piece of music. She made a lot of progress on it today, and she's very happy with that. But she kind of had to walk away from the political stuff because it was it's very, very depressing. And, so what can I tell you? I get a lot of email from people who miss her. But have you seen Claire's Corner? I certainly will. Have you over at the website? Have you seen Claire's Corner?
No, I haven't. Maybe
it's in the left-hand margin. There are 2 videos there now, and more to come, where Claire is just sharing her insights, and that's her contribution now.
Right. On my next call, I want to discuss with you the static universe versus the Big Bang thing and the missing matter. Apparently, the missing matter goes back to Lord Kelvin in 1884.
Yes.
Quite interesting.
Well, the
Thanks for taking
reason for the missing matter or the dark matter is they can't get the equations to work out for the Big Bang. So the missing matter and the dark matter are the modern version of epicycles.
Well, there was a guy named Zwicky that did a lot of those calculations in the 1930s. Fritz Zwicky.
Yes, I remember
Caltech.
him. Yep. He has a whole class of galaxies named after him.
Yeah. My argument would run on something like Earnshaw's theorem from electromagnetism. But I'll get back to you next week then.
All right, that'll be fun. And thank you for the phone call. We're going to switch over to Tom in Indiana. Hello, Tom. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Aloha, Mike. Aloha.
Ah.
Anyway, I want to tell you that people shouldn't really worry about them taking the guns. I have an idea. You have your sheriffs, or you run for sheriff, and you deputize everybody that's a Republican or everybody that's a veteran in your county, because it's a constitutional office, the sheriff.
Yes.
And you mandate that all those people own either AR-15s or M16s, and you go to the government and you ask them to give you a grant so you can get surplus M16s to give to your deputies that you've just initiated.
Okay.
And that way you don't have to worry about the federal government coming in and taking your guns, because you have all these deputies out there.
Well, would be nice if we could find some sheriffs with the courage to do just that.
Well, in Indiana, all our sheriffs are Republicans, and I'm sure that they'd do that if they knew that was coming down the pike. So,
well, I'll have to ask our local sheriff then. Oh, okay, Tom. All right, Tom, stay on the line. I'm going to put you on hold. We got to take one more break for commercials.
Is your property a financial burden and causing you grief? Have you tried to sell but can't find buyers? Or are you just too busy to sell your property? Don't worry, we have the right solution for you. We buy properties as is, with cash, close in 30 days, and pay all closing costs. Our service is ideal for property owners who are in pre-foreclosure, have high-end repair costs, experiencing financial hardship, going through costly divorces, are relocating, need cash for retirement, suffering family loss, or have tax liens. Whatever your situation may be, we can help you sell your property and get the money you need. If you own a single-family home or multiple family units, call us for a free consultation at 888-910-1037. That's 888-910-1037. Or visit our website at cashingproperty.com. That's cashingproperty.com. Sell your property fast and leave all your worries behind.
The reviews for Extendivite are amazing. Amazon customer. It's amazing. I just ordered my second bottle. In 1 month, my blood pressure dropped significantly. I no longer get chest pain after I exercise. The reviews are spot on. My target is to get off of BP meds, and if it keeps going like this, I see a light at the end of the tunnel. Amazon customer. Extendivite works great. This product has made my blood pressure and cholesterol stable. I highly recommend it. Amazon customer. Excellent herbal formula. I've been using it to keep my cardiovascular system fine-tuned. Extendivite is only $69.95 for a 2-month supply. To order, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com. That's HEARTDROP.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Hey, honey, I'm home. I grabbed a newspaper on the way home. Look at all the news today.
Don't you know that all you're going to get in the newspaper is propaganda, twisted news, and false information?
Honey, this is a national newspaper. It has to be true.
Ha! For some reason, the majority of the population believe anything the mainstream media tells them. The newspaper doesn't give out the important attention of what's happening to this country and news that affects our daily lives. Say, Does that newspaper mention anything about the North American Union?
No, not that I can see.
I didn't think so. You need to go to www.newswithviews.com, where truth is more important than political correctness. That's www.newswithviews.com. Hey, don't throw that away. We can use that in the birdcage.
Okay, move over. Let me start reading newswithviews.com.
The truth? Read all about it at newswithviews.com. Newswithviews.com, where reality shatters illusion.
Wall Street wizards on the land from a mental institution claim private retirement funds. Yeah, they are the best solution. But when the markets crash, we'll be asking where's the cash. Guess them folks in D.C. must be smoking Texas hash. Will Congress pay the piper when all the money's gone?
Back to our show. Last segment on today's Powhana program. We're talking with Tom in Indiana. We're talking about guns. And Tom, if you could just sort of pick up where you left off.
Yeah, I want to pick up. A lot of you guys out there are scared that they're going to take your guns away.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a little bit about politics because I live in Allen County, which is an Indiana county that's mostly Republican.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it isn't very hard to put your name on there to run for office. And if you would sign up to run for sheriff in your county, wherever you live in the United States, and one of your keynotes is that when you become sheriff, that you'll deputize anybody that you think is fit to have a gun in the county that you live in.
Okay.
This is a constitutional right that every state has, that you have the head constitutional officer in your county is a sheriff, and the only one that can arrest the sheriff is a coroner here in Indiana.
Okay.
So anyway, if you have guys that are running for office and you're promising them these guys that can be vetted, but once you get vetted and you have all these guys that want to be your deputy sheriffs,
mm-hmm.
you can ask the government to supply you with M16s for your deputies out there. And also surplus handguns, and
mm-hmm.
also if the guys used to fly in the military, we can get some military aircraft too.
Oh, that would be useful.
In the county where I live at, they've got all kinds of stuff that the government has given the local police departments.
Yes, we've seen that. That's all over the country.
Yeah. So if you guys are worried about them taking your guns, run for office, become a sheriff. And then you can deputize all your friends and all the guys that were in the Army with you or the Navy. And you can just take that balloon they're trying to give you and put a big hole in it.
Okay. All right. Well, Tom, thank you very. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for the phone call. We're going to let you go. We're almost at the end of the program here, so I'm going to do some final news stories on the subject of guns here. They're calling it the toilet paper effect in reference to the stockpiling that occurred at the start of the pandemic. And apparently Americans are scrambling for ammo amid the shortage, and I know there's a shortage. I'm hearing it from so many people. Anytime ammunition comes into like Rural King or anything, it's immediately the shelves are cleaned out. People are stockpiling. And again, apparently last year, the FBI processed a record 39.7 million firearm background checks. This is the most background checks since the agency began keeping tabs in 1998. So, it's, the gun grabbers, every time the gun grabbers open their mouth, gun sales go through the roof. And, there's the music here. It's time for me to get on out of here. Stay tuned for John Stedmiller. I'm sure he's got lots of interesting things to share with you. Please spread the word of Republic Broadcasting. Spread the word of whatreallyhappened.com. Please donate. And we'll be back on Monday. Aloha, America.